All right, joining us to preview this upcoming season of Sam Houston Bearkat softball. Last year, Sam Houston Bearkat softball got to the Conference USA tournament. They look to go back there and make an even deeper run than this year, with welcoming back some welcoming in some new players and also bringing back some new players that some of them didn't have the chance to play last year. But of course, joining us right now is head coach Garrett Valis. Coach, glad to have you on here with us to talk the upcoming season. Just how's the off season been? I know y'all got bounced out last year earlier than y'all wanted to, but hey, I mean, Ali Seville got y'all there, so it was a pretty exciting way to get in there. But I know y'all want to go deeper this year.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. The off season's been a positive one. We've got a lot of new faces with 8 freshmen, a few transfers. You mentioned a few people coming back from injury that are experienced players that missed all of last year for us. So we kind of feel like we have 4 transfers, even though it's just the two new ones. And so lots of new faces, just really trying to make sure that we can integrate and teach and get on the same page about our culture, our expectations, certainly what we do from an offensive and defensive standpoint. Have the largest pitching staff that we've had um, since I've been here with 7 arms, and so that's been a different balancing act with Coach Lex and kind of the way that she programs and trying to ramp up everyone and get them going. But the biggest news for me is that we showed back up in shape. Everyone showed back up. We hit our conditioning test early in January, and people flew through that pretty easily. So it sent a really positive message to me that we had been working over the break. Our strength staff does just a tremendous job of developing and preparing our athletes, both in the weight room and on the field from a speed and explosiveness standpoint, which I think is a strength of this team. And so Coach Trevor Williams has just done a great job of promoting that and developing that. And we continue to do that now, even though we're into game prep, here with only about a week or so out from game day. So overall, we're healthy. We feel strong about where we're at, but we have so many new people. So there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some bumps in the road. But I don't think anyone that accomplishes anything great goes through the season with just it being perfect all the time. So we're ready for the challenges, and this team's a lot of fun to coach.
Before we get into the roster construction real quick, as a head coach, what has it been like seeing the progress that this program has been undertaking from year one in Conference USA to year two, and now you're going on to year three with y'all were picked fifth in the preseason Conference USA poll standings. Just kind of overall, what has it been like seeing the growth?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways these things can go, right? You can jump in a conference year one and just light it on fire and have great success. And then if you aren't able to replicate that, you feel like you're moving backwards, right? And so that there's positive and negatives through that. Every year presents different challenges, so being consistent year in, year out can be very, very tough. But the most important thing for me is seeing us trending upwards. And so, as you mentioned, we are doing that. We have done that, and so that's the challenge this year. Continue to grow on the progress we made last year. Avoid those steps backwards or make them very minimal throughout the year. Get better at the things that have held us back and maybe kept us from being a higher seed going into the tournament because that's important. Getting in's number one, but the higher seed you get in and have some buys and things like that, it just you set yourself up for success. So, last year we kind of limped into the conference tournament with just a bunch of injuries, specifically in the circle, and that's a strength for us. And so one of our strengths last year was kind of a weakness for us in the tournament, just because we didn't have the depth that we hope to have that time of year. And the arms that did go for us threw really well. But we just didn't have enough, I guess, the firepower to get through that. So for me, it's really about, hey, if we can continue to climb and continue to not get focused on rankings and those type of things, understand that each series is a challenge, and home or road, we have a very tight league. It's going to be that way again. New faces in Missouri State and Delaware, and so we don't travel to either one of them this year. So I think when you have two new teams, that's a good thing, that you don't have to go to their place. And so Missouri State will come here, and then hopefully we'll see Delaware at the conference tournament.
One more thing before we get into the roster, just talk about the staff that you are surrounded by. Of course, you got Coach Tess, you got Coach Lex, and just kind of how important have they been in this whole process?
The most vital piece of the whole deal. This is second year with Coach Lexi being here. And so just the stability and the continuity, especially that Coach Tess and Coach Lexi have developed. Tess has been here for quite a while now and just really been a huge part of, I think, growth, not only for me as a coach, for herself as a coach, but our staff. We really understand and communicate well what we want in a drill or expectations for what we want with our hitters, for instance. And then we just, there's not really any part of our program that's off limits from discussion, so we're always talking about. We actually just had a practice meeting right before we got on here and just talking about what can we do better? What are the things that I can do better? How can I structure some things in a more productive and confidence building way, And so every team's different. This personality of this team's a little bit. We're continuing to figure them out. Hopefully, and vice versa. But the staff and the continuity and the support that I get from them and that our players get from them is just tremendous, and it makes me feel very blessed to work with two people like them.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the roster here, Coach. I mean, I kind of feel like we have to start this one off the bat. I mean, you get two players back that were out last year due to injury, and Jordan Pino and Trisha Urotsky. Just how are they doing, and how big is it to have them back for this year?
They're doing well. Anytime you're coming off an injury, especially a season-ending one that requires surgery, the rehab can be rigorous and exhausting. But I think both of them have handled it well. Trisha got started on hers a little bit earlier. Hers was kind of a preseason determination before we left for the fall, and so she was really pretty full strength by the time we got to like late April last year. But that was just a predetermined that she would miss the year. So she's doing well. Haven't really seen any setbacks. Confidence looks good in her injury recovery. And then Jordan, same way. She just was a little bit slower because of when her injury happened and kind of just kind of a little bit more delicate with it. But I think that both of them look strong. They look like they're fully healthy. They look like they're ready to go.
I mean, and I mean, it's not just the fact that they're, it's not that their play on the field. It's affect going to be affecting the team. It's also their veteranship, their leadership. They've been around this program for a long time, and especially with the amount of freshmen you have on this team, does that play a big part?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime I think that you have people that have been in your program for 4+ years that have played a lot, and so that's the other thing, there's stability in what you expect to get from them, what they're capable of. And Jordan is kind of our energy on the field in the dugout. She provides just she's one of those kids that's able to play very loose, borderline silly, and but she keeps people entertained, and it works for her. That's when she's at her best. And Trisha is a very tactical person. She knows how to do everything the way we want it done, why we do it that way. And so really and those two are close. They're very close friends. They've been here obviously for a long time, very different personalities, but they bring really strong positives to us from a leadership standpoint and just a balance standpoint for your roster.
Y'all have Bella Perez. She transferred in from last year, and she had such a good year last year. So I'm thinking, and it wasn't the fact that she got it done with her bat. She also got it done with her glove behind the plate. And I just wonder how in the world can she get any better? I mean, just she's but I because she was just so good last year. I mean, tied the single season record for home runs in the season in Bearcat history. I mean, just what does it mean to have her back? Not only like not have her this year, but also bring her in after having the season she had last year, because it seems like she can go up from there.
Yeah, I mean, Bella's a worker and she is never satisfied. She performs well in the spotlight. She handles that environment very well, and she brings a swagger and an energy from a competitive standpoint that's extremely positive. Being a catcher, she gets to highly influence the game, whether she's having a good day offensively or not. And so just, again, from a coaching standpoint, when you feel like, hey, we're good in the circle or we're good up the middle on defense, it just gives you a lot of confidence and understanding what to expect. So I think the trick for anyone that has a really great season from a results number standpoint, maybe some record breaking stuff, recognition type stuff, for me, that's great and it's awesome, but people talk about this all the time. Nobody cares what you did last year, and that's kind of Bella's mentality. She knows that she's got to work every day, that she's got to sharpen her tools if she wants to perform. And that's, she loves to perform. She loves to play the game. So as long as she's doing that and she's in the cage and she's working and she's taking care of her body, as we know, the catching position can beat you up. I think that she'll um, to me, there's no like purpose of talking about what she's capable of because it wouldn't shock me if she were able to put up bigger numbers, but it wouldn't shock me if maybe the home runs go down a little bit and the RBIs go up and average goes up. At the end of the day, I think she's going to be productive, and she'll be an important part of our lineup for sure.
Talking with head coach Garrett Valis of Sam Houston softball. Talk the you didn't bring that much transfers in this year, but just kind of what do you like about him, and basically who you brought in.
Yeah, I mean, just a few transfers this year, and just really had a lot of returners in positions we'd recruited. So, losing Elliott first base, we felt like that if we could add somebody there, and so we brought in Ronnie Harrison or Veronica Harrison from Lamar. Been a really good first baseman DP for them. And so just a very consistent hitter. I think that's what I like most about her is that you may not get as much flash from time to time, and she certainly has power. And she will. I think our ballpark will play well for her swing, but at the end of the day, it's being consistent. Not if you're getting pitched tough, just taking a ground ball up the middle to drive some runs in, and hitting the ball the other way, being able to cover the plate inside, outside, up, down, off speed. So it's really consistency from her. Her personality and her mentality fit extremely well with our culture. So she's been pretty seamless, and she's very familiar with some of our players that were returners, including people like Bella and Amy Apke. And then Ripley Welker, his kid took a little while to get here, kind of JUCO for a few years, 1 year at Corpus, and she's athletic, she's rangy, she's fast, she can demonstrate some power as a left-handed hitter. Still figuring out where she fits best for us, but she's been working in the infield a little bit. She's played outfield quite a bit in her career, so really just gives us some versatility for a lot of different positions.
You mentioned the pitching staff earlier. Y'all are gonna have you're gonna have the largest pitching staff that you've had in your time. You said it was seven, if I remember correctly. Just and obviously you can't have too many arms. It feels like I mean, especially after last year. I mean, I remember last year y'all went into the conference tournament a little banged up and all that. Just kind of what do you still got young. You still got Apke coming back, of course. Kendall Daniel. Just what does it mean to just what does it mean to see the steps that Apke and Young took with how in their sophomore years and now they're coming into their junior years and hopefully fully healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe that the entire pitching staff has grown even from this fall. Health has been a major focus for them, and we use the word durability. It is a very repetitive motion. It beats on your body, and so being durable is important. Everyone, Kendall's coming off of a off season kind of operation, and so she's ramping back up and should be ready to rock and roll for the spring. But some of our pitchers like Apke and Young that have not been able to do as much from a physical standpoint, maybe in the fall, have had their best fall of being able to do that. So I think that their bodies are more conditioned to be able to handle the rigors of the spring. And then I think just the development of our entire staff, the way that we plan to use them and allow them to play off of each other. I think will hopefully keep us healthy for an entire season for the things that we can control. Development from Tiffany Sanchez, I think, is going to be just really, really important for us. She's been really strong in the fall and so far for us early on in her squads this spring. So just a tenacity and a ferociousness that she kind of pitches with when she gets it going, I think can really give us a ton of productive innings. So for me, with having the number of arms, two freshmen that are different and provide us with a little bit different look, one being left-handed and one with just different velo and kind of the way that she delivers the ball. So for me, it's really just, hey, we can go into any game against anyone and feel like we have the kid in our staff that can get them out, that can give us innings. And that we can win a ball game. And if we're missing one or two because of an injury or someone gets sick, that we're still not going to be down and out in any situation or feel like that we're climbing uphill. So I'm excited about it, and I think it'll be a big challenge for Coach Lexi and I to put game plans together to make sure that we're using people appropriately and keeping people sharp and ready to go.
Could it is it also could be because it feels like in Conference USA, especially since the since Sam Houston went to move to the conference, it felt like right off the bat, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It felt like though that pitching is a big emphasis in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I think naturally, what we have seen is it's a more offensive type league. So you've got the teams that can really pitch are the ones that are finishing, closer to the top and stuff. And I think that the teams that have struggled to pitch, are having a hard time because it's just hard to outscore people. So for me, I'm always, even though I like to hit and I think that that part of the game is fun, I know pitching and defense is what keeps you in ball games. And so we kind of try to hang our hat on that philosophy, and I think our defense was a strength for us this year. And great pitching only can take you so far, but you got to play. If we got a ground ball kid on the mound and we're not playing good defense, it can get us in trouble. So I do agree with you though that the team you got to be able to pitch in this league because it's such an offensive league.
More on the roster, the freshmen. Are we gonna? Should we expect to see a lot of contributions early on in this and well, basically throughout the season from some freshmen, if not all of them?
Yeah, I mean, I love this class. They're extremely coachable. They work hard. They've been a really gratifying, you spend all this time recruiting, gratifying group to be around as far as understanding like what we were trying to add and what we were looking for. And we feel like that they've just done a great job of trying to be sponges, learn from the upperclassmen. They work really hard, and they have a lot of ability. But at the end of the day, they've got to earn it, and we've got a lot of experienced kids back, and so do you expect to see some contribution? Sure, yeah. I mean, I think that there's several of them that can get on the field and contribute in a big way. But at the end of the day, we're still kind of working some of those things out. But I think that they're going to be able to impact our season for sure. In all areas, especially from an offensive standpoint, I just like what a lot of them do for us and kind of the versatility that they have on defense.
Want to step away a little bit from the current roster. Y'all announced that y'all signed three players for the 2026 class. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about them. Y'all got Thomas from Humble from Tascasita High School, an outfielder. Y'all got Hageman from Wentzville, Missouri, a right-handed pitcher, and y'all got Chapman, outfielder from Conroe. Just kind of what are your thoughts on these signees so far?
Yeah, so Noah's a pitcher, pitcher only, and so she's a tall kid and got a lot of whip, and so Coach Lexi just really loves her upside. I think that she's going to be able to come in. We're graduating one arm this year, Mackenzie Jenkins, so she would come in and fill that spot for us next year. But she's pitched for some really good travel teams, and we feel like that her experience against that type of competition, along with her length and just a little bit of being raw and being able to shape her a little bit is going to give us a long-term arm that can really give us some really great innings. So like her a lot. And then the two athletes, Thomas and Chapman, that's what they are. I mean, Chapman brings a ton of speed, a ton of athleticism, can play, mostly an outfielder, but can play some infield. right in our backyard, has a family connection with our university and athletics here. And so really excited about her. And then Thomas is just the same type of kid, plays with speed, but has a lot of power as a right-handed hitter, has all the tools. So from an athletic standpoint, they fit very well with replacing what we're losing and then matching up with some of our young kids. So you look at what the future roster looks like as girls graduate and move on. It makes you feel very encouraged about the pieces that we're adding for the future.
Did you have to change your whole recruiting process when you moved to Conference USA?
I don't know that I would say that the process has been different, but I just think that we're trying to identify, we're still trying to, I want to say that we're pretty, diligent and slow to make decisions. We really like to watch people a lot. We want kids that really want to be here, and not just say, hey, I've got a bunch of different opportunities. And if you're giving me the best slice of pie, then that's where I'm coming. I want people to want to put the shirt on, and I want people to want to walk in the building and have pride in that. And that sometimes takes some warming up too, for people to figure that out. And they get to camp and they kind of get around us a little bit, and they understand what our players stand for and what our program stands for. So those things haven't changed. But as far as like, who we're identifying, I think that microscope has gotten a little bit, powered up, if you will. And so we're kind of just making sure that we're setting kids up for success. That's my biggest thing is like, I don't want to recruit a kid because they have a few tools, but I just don't really know where their, their place is going to be, if that makes sense. It's up to them, and their work ethic and development is really up to them and them accepting the challenge that we put in front of them. But I would just say that we're probably being a little bit more picky um, with the type of athletes that we're going after.
All right, I don't want to put you on the spot right here, but just for those out there that are not too familiar with Samuelson softball, just a couple of names on the roster, maybe ones that we haven't mentioned that they need to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a tough thing to answer, but I'll do my best. I've told this team since early on in August last year, and told them again yesterday. We have so many variable parts and people that can slide behind the plate, that can play outfield, that can play multiple infield positions. That it's probably going to be my biggest challenge from a coaching standpoint of putting the right pieces together at the right time, and being able to, because in my opinion, we have more than 9 kids that that are starters, if you will. And I think that list can get pretty deep, and it changes from day to day. And some of that will be matchups and things like that. So, but, um, we've talked about some of the upperclassmen coming back. I do think Ronnie Harrison's going to have an impact for us, coming in as a transfer. And our freshman, Sophia Lundstrom, I think, is one of the freshmen that looks like that she's going to be a contributor for us, and maybe in an impactful way. She's a kid that can play outfield. She spent some time behind the plate, so she can move around, and it's kind of a rare combination of a kid that plays with a lot of power, a lot of speed. Everyone else has been pretty. People that you've seen around. I think a lot. Like I said, all of our freshmen have a chance to get out there, but other than the usual suspects, I think Morgan Holiday is primed to have a really great season. She's just had a strong fall, and I think that she's taking care of her body and healthy, and just more mature and ready for more of the bumps in the road that come along. I think that Carlin Dees as a sophomore has grown a lot, and if she continues to chase that growth and continues to chase her development. It's kind of the same thing. I don't want to put a ceiling on her. I don't know what she could accomplish just because she has so much just God-given ability. And then I've already mentioned this already, but Tiffany Sanchez, I think, is just done really, really well for us. And it's hard to really talk about any one of our pitchers outside of the others, but I'm just so proud of her development and her work, and just the process that she has gone through to really address a lot of different things, um, from her strength in nutrition and just everything that she's done has put herself in just such a great position to have a major impact for us.
One more thing, Coach. I mentioned the conference already, but last year Liberty made that big run. They took down the number one overall seed in Texas A&M at their own house. Just kind of, what's it like from your perspective as a Conference USA head coach, just to see Liberty do that, and how well does that bode for the lead in the future, for the league in the future, rather?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, you can have those special seasons, those special moments, and they certainly were able to, catch lightning in a bottle last year and ride that to a super regional. And it's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. And it's hard to do for everyone. And we talked about that with our kids because we set some goals this year that I think most people will look at and be like, "Yeah, I don't see it." And we've spent all year talking about like it's absolutely possible. And you look at a team like Liberty and what they accomplished, they're the reason why, because we've played with them. And so it's about consistency. Can they consistently respond to the season they had last year? Over there, that'll be a massive challenge. And so I just am encouraged because I know we can play with anyone in our league. I know we can beat anyone anywhere. Um, and I know that what we've put in front of ourselves from a goal standpoint is lofty, but nobody gets to, Texas last year won the national championship and they were one out or a few pitches away from being eliminated by Clemson and not even making it to the World Series. So they had their things that had to bounce their way. They had their trials that they were able to overcome, and they were, number one, number two, number three in the country at the time. And so everyone will have to overcome some obstacles to reach the goals that they've got in front of them, including those people. And so I just think that it's important that we stay focused on where we're trying to go, stay focused on each other, stay super connected, make sure that we're pulling the rope in the same direction. And if Liberty's able to replicate what they did last year, then we're just going to have to get after it a little bit more and raise to that level.
So it sounds like you just don't want your players to be physically durable, but you want them to be mentally durable, especially in a game like softball.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I'll take the mental toughness every day, and it's yeah, like you said, a game like softball. We play a game that just can really, really beat you down, and be very, very challenging, and so I think it's so big, and we talk about moments and stuff. Moments are just moments, but we can't make them bigger than they are, and we've got to learn to be comfortable in the right situations, and so. What I mean by that is you're going to be uncomfortable no matter how you slice it. So let's make sure that we're not uncomfortable in games. We're not uncomfortable in competition. Let's be uncomfortable in practice and in the weight room and all the areas that we can be willing to test our limits and fall on our face a little bit more. And then we get to the game. It's just playing the game that these girls have done their whole life and coaching the game that we love and not making it bigger than it is.
Well, thank you, Coach. I'll take that advice into my next slow pitch season. So,
Well, good. I hope it works out for you.
oh, I need to stop. I need to stop grinding out the short, man. I need to stop doing that. I need to line drive, lift the ball up a little bit more.
Hey, you just gotta when it's 25 degrees outside, you gotta go
Oh,
outside and do some hitting.
oh, man, I've actually done that before, where we played in slow pitch in the cold, and you hit that ball at the on the hands or off the end, and it just stings you. It not just stings in your hands; it stings your soul. It feels like.
Yeah, imagine what it feels like when someone's throwing 65 and that happens.
Oh man, no. Ugh. And I gotta ask though, we did talk about it. Just how have y'all enjoyed the cold? I mean, it kind of anticipates y'all having some good weather heading into the Bearkat Classic this upcoming well, by the time this episode releases this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, I mean, really, it has not been much of a factor. It's kind of shifted our schedule around a little bit, and we've been
Yeah.
able to get most of the work in that we had intended to get in. Just kind of had to shift some of the days around and stuff. So we did want to kind of get out Friday, Saturday, Sunday this past weekend, and obviously that didn't happen. So we just shifted that to more midweek type stuff and be able to to replicate a series. We're doing that again this week. We'll go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hopefully, Saturday looks like it might cause a little bit of issues, but we're just trying to work through it as best we can. Like I said, just trying to keep the cold bug away and make sure that we don't go through any sickness and stuff that we can try to prevent, and be ready to roll against South Dakota next Thursday.
Hey, you've heard Disney on ice. What about Bearcat softball on ice, possibly?
Yeah, I think we better.
Probably not.
Yeah, we better stick to throwing, catching, and hitting.
Yeah. Well, hey, Coach, I'm really appreciative of you hopping on and talking some Bearcat softball heading into this season. It's gonna be primed for another fun season. See where y'all head in y'all third year in Conference USA. Appreciate you hopping on.